where we have had number of scams being disclosed.
Satish Manishinde?
Well, I can't say that scams don't exist because we find that they're increasing day by day. But what has happened in the last 5 to 10 years is that the business is becoming more transparent because all the decisions which are taken by the government are possible to be obtained by using the Right to Information Act. Any governmental authority or any educational institution which grants permissions or licenses or admissions is, bound by law.
So that's a big step forward.
It's a big step forward. That's
you
how.
didn't mention that in your earlier.
Yeah, I did mention, and it's a big step, and that's how a large number of scams are coming out in the open, and that's how 133 licenses, which none of us would have known as to what happened by granting the 133 licenses, came out in the public, and the Supreme Court with one word cancelled all those 133 licenses. So it's possible that if you exercise your rights and you are not scared of what's going to be the consequences of exposing those deeds, it's possible that it's going to become more transparent.
Okay, all right. Take a question from the lady up there, please.
Many of my friends and me, we are aspiring entrepreneurs. So, as Mr. Chandrasekhar said, that in the process of getting a good business, we do have to bribe people. And if I am not ready to bribe as a businessman, I do have to either get off the business or stop doing that particular business and look up to something else. So to what extent is India ready to give off or lay off such good businessmen who really want to do an honest business and let people who are ready to bribe and get into the system?
So you're preparing for a life of bribery, are you?
I do not want to prepare. That's the reason I want to know to what extent is India ready to let go of people who want to really be honest in their business.
Rajeev Chandrasekhar.
Look, first of all, I think you stay focused on it and be an entrepreneur. It's a good thing. So that's number one. Number two is, I would advise you to stay away from infrastructure, stay away from real estate, stay away from mining.
What's left?
You're a young lady. There is entertainment, there's media, there is services, there is hospitality. There are so many other businesses that you can get into. Start small.
Manjeet, you wanted to object here?
Yes, I do. Young ladies can get into infrastructure too.
Well, then you have to bribe, is the point I'm making.
Maybe
it wasn't
they
a
won't.
sexist
I
comment.
It's a different generation.
I'm saying young ladies and young gentlemen stay away from infrastructure.
But then we have the legal profession. You can always take it on. I came with nothing to Bombay and I flourished. That's because of the crime.
And talk to the underworld every day.
Well, I'd like to respond. Actually,
Please,
one of the ways that you should certainly persevere in your business, and I would add one more thing. Please build India's institutions. We don't have enough institutions, and that's why things are all awry. We don't have a knowledge of scholarly work that can support legitimate knowledge, and instead of just lobbying for one thing.
That won't be business then.
No, we don't have a business think tank in the country. We don't have a financial think tank. We don't have economic think tank, that's private. We have one foreign policy think tank that's private. So I would build institutions, whatever they are. And the second thing I'd like to say is the only way to stay honest, which is what Indian business is doing now, is they're leaving the country. They're going abroad.
Sad comment. Gentleman in the third row. Yes, you sir. Yeah.
My question is to Captain Gopinath. So you are a high-profile businessman. You said you did honest business, but then at a certain point of time, you needed to compromise. The government system, which everybody says is rotten, broke you down. Then what makes you stand against the motion and say that other businesses are not breaking down under government pressure and staying honest?
No, I didn't break down. What I said was that before that I want to tell you that after I left the army with 6,000 rupees, and I went to farming, and I was living in a tent, and I was into farming for 10 years, and I did a lot of small, various odd businesses. I was a motorcycle dealer, I had a Udupi hotel. So I never bribed, but I would keep going. But for example, to get my electricity connection in my farm, it took me 1.5 years. Of course, if I had paid something, I would have got it next day. Similarly, in aviation, what I said was that at some point in time, I did compromise, not on a major thing. In some point where I had to get something done, and if that was not done next day, there would have been a huge loss or something like that. Some compromise was made. But you pick yourself up and then fight again. So it is as much within you as question of blaming the government. Of course, the government is a chicken and egg situation, right? Which comes first? The government, being the government, it has to be honest, but it is not. But the politician is you in the mirror, right? So we are all part of the problem and we are all part of the solution.
You happy with that?
What I mean to ask you is, what's the profit for business to stay honest in a system like India? You know, if a high-profile businessman like you needs to compromise, then what's the chance for an average person like me who goes into business?
Rajeev.
No, look, don't make this a philosophical discussion. Get really real on this. There are aspects or areas of business in India, if you want to stay honest, you should just stay away from them. That's the simple reality. But having said that, there are many areas that you can be an entrepreneur in, where you can be honest, but I'm not saying it will be easy. It won't be as easy as it is for the guy who's being dishonest. You will have to work harder, and you will have to, and I promise you this, you will have to see many opportunities go past and not succumb to temptations, because that will be there for the pickings for other people.
Are you going to set up a business?
Yes, I do.
Are you prepared to stand firm against temptation?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No.
So you think you'll pay the bribes you have to pay?
Because I've dealt with some low-level government officers, and the thing is, if I want to do business, then I want to do business, okay? And if there is something that is stopping me from doing business, then I'll try to overcome that obstacle. If that obstacle is overcome by giving a bribe, so be it.
Yeah.
Satish Manishwar, can you blame him?
Well, I don't blame him for the simple reason that, since you're joining the system, you are inculcated into a fact that my friend just told you earlier, that you don't know what's right and wrong. This kind of this generation of yours has come into this world knowing that, bribing is a part of your life. So if you're going to continue doing this, you're going to increase corruption in our country, which is not the kind of thing that we're looking at.
And unfortunately, this is our fault, our generation.
Yeah? For not teaching
For not cleaning up the
between
system.
right and wrong.
For not cleaning up the system.
Okay. Gentleman up there, third row.
I want to ask, even if I assume that starting a business honestly is possible, I just don't want to start a business. I want to keep it running. So to keep it running, don't you think we at some level we have to be involved in corruption later?
No,
Just for you.
Yes.
No. But I'm saying you have a choice to choose the direction that you want. If you choose what your friend said, which is you want to be a very successful business and the end justifies the means, then you will do what you have to do. But if you ask me a question, is there an alternate way to doing business? Is there an alternate way to do business? Yes, there is. More difficult, more expensive, tougher. But then, it's for the tough people and not the easy one.
Captain Gopinath, are you scared by what you're hearing from some of the people in the audience here?
No, I think I'm not scared at all. They're going to get bruised, they're going to get hurt, they're going to hurt others.
But they're going to keep the system going as it is.
All I'm saying is we have to be optimistic. Life is all about hope and optimism.
Satish Manishwar, let me ask you the same question. Are you scared by what you're hearing?
I'm not scared of what I'm hearing because the law is improving. There are laws which are coming in which expose all these scams. People are getting scared getting involved in. The communication system is not watertight.
Land up in your court.
They're welcome to land up in my office or in the courts, but I'm sure they'll be facing a harder task to get out of it.
Do you think India gets the corruption it deserves?
Well, it doesn't deserve the kind of corruption that is happening in our country, but
it's Indians who produce it, though, isn't it?
Well, sometime, a revolution will take place, and I'm sure it is going to improve.
So you're calling for a revolution. Okay, all right. Lady in the third row there, in white.
I have a question to the team against the motion. Mr. Chandrasekhar had mentioned that if you want to become an honest entrepreneur, you should stay away from certain sectors which are very corrupt. Doesn't that mean you're actually running away from the problem? Instead, shouldn't you join those sectors if you're really interested in those, reach the top notch, and then probably try to change the policies over there?
Rajeev Chandrasekhar.
No, look.
An idealist.
Yeah, she's an idealist. Look, I would have done that, but I speak from personal experience. I was 10 years in telecom, and from what you read, telecom was opened up to private sector in 1994. We are 20 years later and we are still grappling with corruption in that sector. So this is
But
not...
why cave in? Why tell her to cave in? Just go somewhere else.
Let me answer.
I'm
Let
not
me
saying
finish.
you stay not corrupted if you're joining a sector which is probably